All right. Welcome everyone to our session of Better the Villain Who Serves You. This is our game of supervillain butlers at a cafe, played for the Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend in October of 2020. I think this is our Gauntlet Con version of this fantastic thing. And my name is Sam Zimmerman. I am going to be our GM for this session and kind of ferrying these supervillains who are trying to figure themselves out through this crazy day, and we will see how that goes. Why don't we go around in the order that I have everybody on the screen and just give a quick intro and your pronouns. I think, John, you're next.
Hi, everyone. I'm John. I use he, him pronouns. Yeah, excited to be playing.
And then I have Leah.
I'm Leah, she, her. Excited to play this, especially in Gauntlet Comics.
And Mario, I think you're next.
Hey, my name is Mario. Use he, him pronouns. And if you haven't played with the Gauntlet, come and join us. It's tons of fun.
And Sabine.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sabine. I use any pronouns, and I'm looking forward to this game because I was in a similar game last Gauntlet Con and I had to drop out because of migraine, and I was looking forward to this for a long time now.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. So yes, as Mario mentioned, this is through the Gauntlet. I will have links in the description of the video for how you can get in touch with Gauntlet and maybe sign up for one of these cons in the future, or come and join us on the regular Hangouts calendar and you can play some crazy, ridiculous games like this one with us. So I'm going to really quickly kind of explain this game, and then we will get into character creation. So the general concept for the game that we will be playing today is that each one of you will be taking on the role of an ex-supervillain who has been given a second chance in order to become reintegrated into the regular Gauntlet City society. In doing so, you have become butlers and waiters and baristas at a Gauntlet City cafe named the Queen of Cups. The queen herself, who actually runs the cafe, is a very mysterious individual. She changes appearance and personality quite often, and nobody's really sure if it's because she is kind of reincarnating or this is a title that's handed down to different people. It's all very kind of mysterious and up in the air, and we get to kind of figure that out as we go. And so we get to have a lot of fun building this cafe as exactly we want. This is a slice of life game that focuses on a very small scale issues. So although there are going to be a lot of kind of super powered elements, we really bring those in as kind of comedic, goofy moments of showing the weirdness of having a supervillain be a butler at a cafe. This is not Rip is opening in space time and the armies of the great beyond are coming through in the middle of the cafe. No, that's not happening. This is the biggest problem you guys are going to face is that a henchman comes in crying because she lost her job, and you have to try and console her as she sobs into her cup of chamomile tea. The kind of the purpose here is that we are all running a cafe, so we're all kind of in this small space together and we're all building this space together. It's all very collaborative, so feel free to intro elements as you want to. There is no kind of restrictions on how much or how little you guys can add. It's entirely up to you. And then the last kind of key aspect here is that this game is very much about caring for each other, caring for the queen herself, and caring for us as players and NPC as characters. So lean into that, use the safety tools if you need them. I will go into that in a second. Mechanically, this game is fairly straightforward PbtA. It has a couple of additional elements, some of them borrowed from Forged in the Dark, i.e. the kind of cycles and very structured layout for how a session goes. There's 3 phases. There's a morning phase, there's day phase, and there's a night phase. And I will go into what each of those are as we get there. And additionally, there are no stats in this game. Instead, you will be earning service tokens as you do things throughout the day. You will be better at serving your guests, and then you can spend those tokens to add bonuses to your moves. And very similar to the game Liberté and Apocalypse Keys and that kind of play style. Additionally, the sweet spot is not 10 plus, it is 8 to 10. And so you're not trying to get as high as you can, because if you go too high, then things start to get out of control and you start to lose a little bit of the goal that you were going for. So the 11 plus is your mixed success in this system. So keep that in mind as we're playing through. I think I've gone over most of this stuff. The last thing I want to mention on tone is that some playbooks, moves, or questions focus on romance. These are entirely opt-in, and so feel free at any point to kind of step back and say, I'm not comfortable with the romance at this point. That's entirely up to you. Please be careful of that. But have fun with it as well. It is there if you want to play with it, and please use it if you want to. And then lastly, just to make sure that everybody's having a good time and to ensure that we are all playing with each other safely, we have a couple of tools that we'll be using. We are using lines and veils, which I've already let the players go through. They've already chosen those. Lines are things that we will not be covering at all whatsoever in this game, and veils are things that can kind of come up tangentially, but we won't focus on them. They won't be a part of the main structure of the game. We'll be using script change, which has a couple of different tools. The primary of which are fast forward, which allows you to skip over certain parts of the game that you find problematic or just kind of want to skip through if things are getting too slow. Rewind, if you want to go back and kind of fix something that didn't come out quite right or needs a little bit of a tweak. Pause allows you to just kind of put a stop to the game and ask to clarify something or fix something. Well, whatever you need to do, you can pause the game at any time and kind of have that out of character discussion. And stop is our X card that basically says, stop, we're not going any further with what's going on. Please remove this thing or change this thing. We're going to get this out of the game. Please use those at any time. You can call them out, or you can choose to message me in the chat, and I will do my best to keep an eye on that. And then the last safety tool is the open door policy, which means that at any point players can get up and leave if they need to. I will do my best to not do that, but I will try and let you know if I intend to be back. If I need to be out for an extended period of time, I will let everybody know, so you're not just hanging around waiting for me. But please use that if you need to. I will try and have regularly scheduled breaks, probably around the top of the hour. If people need longer breaks, let me know and I will try and accommodate that. Are there any questions before we go on to the first kind of setup stuff? In that case, we will start by building our queen and the cafe. So the queen is this kind of strange and mysterious person that we are not 100% sure who they are, why they're here, but they seem to have an awful lot of power for what they're kind of relegated to doing in this little cafe. And so I'm going to go around in that same order. So John, Leah, Mario, Sabine, and then myself. And we can choose, the first two are going to choose looks, and then we're going to choose why the queen has the responsibility at this the present moment, and then we're going to start looping through the other options on the sheet. Are there any questions about that? If you want to hop in and kind of add commentary, please do. This is kind of free form. We can talk about cool things and how weird things are. Yeah, just have fun with it. John, are you looking for anything particular on the looks?
Yeah, so this one jumps out at me as fitting for a coffee shop. Frazzled hair and scattered fabric, constantly moving and jittery, because there's so much caffeine around.
I love that.
Or maybe other things, but
Always on the move, trying to get things done.
oh, whoops, I put it in the wrong one. I see. Wait, did I? Here we go.
All right. And Leah, what are you looking at?
I'm going with imperious and hawkish, but often breaks out into smiles.
We have this very, very busy, very industrious queen who somehow is very happy about everything that's going on. I love that. Mario, what are you interested in for why the queen bears her responsibility?
Well, I would like to go bold and just say it's part of an ancient prophecy. So whatever she does, it's bigger than her, and she just doesn't have any saying in it. Really, it's all about a prophecy.
I love that. And then zooming in a little bit, Sabine, what is our queen's favorite food?
These suggestions are amazing. I've just looked at them and I'm torn between human food from Cat Dreams and mermaid pearl ice cream. And I think I'm going with the last because that's just, I like that. Mermaid pearl ice cream. I want that now.
And I'm gonna pick the last one. And I think since she's a grandma, we have to have hard strawberry candies as our last food. Right, and then looping back around, John, if you want to pick her one of her favorite drinks.
Oh, let's go with, whoops, the earthy teas.
Like that. And then Leah, if you want to pick the other drink.
I'm going with milk of the great crawl viper. Probably in coffee.
Oh, the best creamer. I love it. That's fantastic. And then we get to pick 3 things that kind of make up our cafe. We can choose to pick up to 5 if we really want to. So John and Leah, you guys are free to kind of look at those and see if there are any that really call out to you if we don't pick them in the first 3. So Mario, why don't you pick our first one?
I'm going with the obvious here, and I'm including the cats. Just so I don't have to change my background.
Plastic.
Oh, I think I found something. I am still reading. There are so many suggestions and they're also lovely. But I think what I want is a bustling train station nearby because I like trains. Trains are fun.
That's good. I need to pick one. I love the idea of a very antique and kind of rustic outlook for this place, and so I'm going with antique furniture and kitchenware. John or Leah, do you guys have another one of those that you want to bring in?
I'm happy with those three. I don't feel the need to bring one in.
I have thrown in wooden panels with intricate engravings.
And then we get to pick 2 esteemed guests that we often have at our cafe.
Who gets to do that?
Since Leah picked one of those, why don't we have John and Mario? Those 2. This is something that I forgot to mention at the top of this. We are playing in the Gauntlet City Extended Universe, which is a kind of ridiculous multi-year, many different series of kind of interconnected superheroes games that are all getting run by various members of the Gauntlet. There is no need to be well versed in any of the Gauntlet lore or knowledge. There are a couple of things that I added to this that include proper nouns, places that already exist, things like that. So we have a quick and easy way to bring in other characters or places. Feel free to use them if you want. There is no pressure to use them. Even if you don't know what they are, that is perfectly fine. And we will kind of just roll with it.
I just have to say, henchman millennials cracks me up. But I think I'm going to choose, since this is a train station, and I like the juxtaposition of, all this like wondrous stuff against modern, normal everyday stuff. So I'm going to go with typical office workers, salarymen who are oblivious to their surroundings.
That's fantastic.
Okay. This is such a hard choice, but I think to give just a slightly dark touch, I'd like to have a coven of warlocks who have sold their souls.
Oh, fun. And then Sabine, if you want to add our last set of clientele, just kind of round us off here.
Sure, I can. If I can find the drop-down menu, sure. No. Ooh. There are so many interesting things. I think I want Elemental Gin taking a break between contracts. I like Elemental Gin.
That's a good one. So this is our coffee shop, this cute little kind of antique store in the just outside of Hope Preparatory Academy with this bustling train station nearby and some very strange clientele, and I absolutely love it already. So the next thing to do is pick playbooks. So why don't we go around, and each playbook has a brief bit of text beneath the title. And then if you also want to kind of list off the example villains that I've given off on the right to just kind of give you an idea of what characters typically fit that archetype. John, why don't you introduce us to the Mastermind?
All right, let's see. The Mastermind. So it says, and witness of the truest sight and sound, seeing into the hearts of man, she of whispers from many mouths, revealing man's darkest secrets and wisdom. Example villains include Lex Luthor, Mr. Freeze, Doc Ock, and Talia al Ghul.
Yeah, so this is your knows everything, constantly has a plan, always able to take advantage of any situation type, cold and calculating character. Leah, will you introduce our saboteur?
All right, our saboteur. Of the passion in all its sound and fury, desire turns into the sharpest weapon. Heartbreak builds and destroys the empires of man, and lust leads intention astray. These are villains like Poison Ivy, Catwoman, Loki, and Mystique.
So this is the kind of the lying, devious, a little bit sexy character that's able to just kind of subvert expectations and take advantage of those weaknesses. And Mario, do you want to introduce our shapeless?
Okay, the shapeless. Of sand and plastic and what light rots within. Faceless and formless, of consuming all and leaving nothing but despair for the wretched and hollow-hearted. Villain examples: Sandman, Changeling, Clayface, Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man. And I have to say, not a single one of those are familiar to me.
So this is your shape-changing, formless villain who's typically kind of a little bit lazy, a little bit slovenly, but still able to get the job done by just kind of using whatever powers they have and maybe getting into some accidental trouble. And Sabine, do you want to introduce our muscle?
Sure. The muscle of the darkest and most bestial instincts, all who resist. Their conquest wail and weep and gnash their teeth. Their dark strength will break all and remake them in cruelty. Ooh, ominous. The villain examples are Bane, Killer Croc, the Juggernaut, and Giganta, or Giganta, I think.
Yeah, so this is the very aggressive, forceful, kind of beat 'em up, animalistic type villains. Are any of these calling out to anyone? Yeah,
I'm a bit interested in the Mastermind.
okay.
I'm interested in the shapeless.
Mario, I saw you had your hand up.
I've got an idea for the muscle because I'd like to play Iron Bear, a villain from the Celestial Tournament, and he's a Soviet android that was invented for best martial arts training ever, and he sort of looks like a Cyberman from Doctor Who.
That's amazing. And I believe that leaves the saboteur. Are you okay with that, John?
Yep, I'm good with that.
Cool. So feel free to go through and start picking options here. Please pay attention to the section labeled gaining tokens. These are the things that anytime you do them, you get to take a couple of service tokens. This is how you kind of get the power that you use to fuel your basic moves and your other moves. So that kind of informs what your character is typically doing. While we build our characters, I am going to pause the recording so we're not sitting here watching empty space for about 15-20 minutes, and we will check back soon. All right, and we are back. So why don't we go through intro all of the characters, and then when we go around all the way through, just kind of as an intro, and then we will come back and do the villainous bonds questions as a second go through. So character keeper order, Leah, why don't you get us started?
All right, so my character is the Mastermind. Her name is May Sturm. She was known as Maelstrom. And she had a complicated plan that would have made her success inevitable. It involved, lest she draw any attention ahead of time, carefully treating the city's water supply with a series of chemicals right before a hurricane that would have allowed her to mind control like major figures of the city and incidentally almost everyone else, right? Unfortunately, the hurricane kind of fizzled, and now she's just like at this coffee shop. Her villainous look was a cloud of whispers and red lightning, an inky black suit that seems too dark to exist, but now she's normal. She has a shimmering curtain of long hair that's carefully expressionless, and she has a broken watch that she's grown attached to. Now, unfortunately, her water supply plan fell apart, but she has one lingering memento from all that, which is my move, Unwanted Companion. An animal has grown attached to you and loves you dearly despite you trying to keep them at arm's length. And my companion is a sweet puddle of ooze named Bubbles.
That is fantastic. And next in character keeper order, John.
Yes, so I am playing the Saboteur. Their character identity is Tristan with he, him pronouns. I'll have that right now, actually. And their villainous identity is just simply the mask. And if you take a look at the picture, I have co-opted a picture of Tuxedo Mask from Sailor Moon to represent. So the villain identity is an identity sensual and strange, with an outfit that is pheromones and whispers that tempt and cause ache, and embodying everything dark and sensual and feral wild, something desirable and stunning. Though as a butler, Tristan has a unique hairstyle and is dressed impeccably well and in the latest fashions. He became a supervillain by flirting and schmoozing his way to the top. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to go through all this, or I'll just...
Yeah, go through as much as you want.
Okay. What I love about our queen, their love for fantastical and romantic stories, and their innocent crushes on the sweetest people. And my dream for the cafe is to make sure that all the other butlers find love everlasting as well, because I have had so much love already. I have strange friends and stranger rivals. My rival is Zontali, an ex-lover and one of the reigning Supers team leaders. And then as a strange friend, Chanahe, an incubus of silly kinks and humor. And I think that is pretty much everything. I took for my starting move, I took it's time for a makeover. So we get to make over a willing guest at some point, you know, fingers crossed.
Yeah, who's your makeover assistant?
I don't know. I wasn't sure if that is someone I create or if it's another butler.
That is entirely up to you. Do you want it to, it could be one of your friends that you've picked. It could be another butler.
I'd be happy if someone else wants to be involved with that. I'm happy to give them preference. Otherwise, I'd go with, I think, Chanae.
Okay, cool.
Makes sense.
I love that.
But if...
All right, and next, our shapeless, Sabine.
Yeah, I am playing. Let me look at my character here. I am playing Jane, whatever you want to pronounce that. It's fine. It's fine. You can call me he, him. That's also fine. I'm not from this dimension, so everything is a bit weird here. I used to call myself, and I'm saying this once, and please don't let me say it again. It's a lot of bother. I am the storm of 1,000 maws. No, I'm bored now. The name goes on, but that's all you need to know. My villainous look is flowing sand and whispering wind and the sound of hunger and howling. And I came to this dimension because I won the lottery at my village. And then I got, and they told me, yay, you are going over there and you are going to conquer the strange horizons for our people. Yeah, and when I came here, I half-heartedly a bit, maybe, kind of started to conquer and didn't. It was a lot of trouble. It was a lot of trouble. There were people yelling at me, and nobody wanted me to eat their car, and they said you couldn't do that to this tree and stuff like that. And I don't know. Now I'm at this cafe, which is a lot better because mostly I can sleep. I mean, I can work. That's what I'm supposed to do here, right? As a butler, I look a bit cute because I have these cat ears on my head because I thought that was what people look like. I wasn't really clear about the difference of people and cats here. Well, and I usually am doodling lazily in the margins of comics and books and napkins and everything else I can get my hands on, basically. I like to doodle stuff. I'm not really that good at it, but you know. Well, and yeah, I think the cafe could be have a happily permanent chaos that feels like home, right? Because I mean, okay, you're all stuck in your forms, which is weird, but kind of nice. But we could have a bit of chaos here, but not too much chaos. Too much chaos is, again, work. I mean, work is great. I love to work here. Haha, I'm in the spirit. And I have strange friends and strange rivals. My strange friend is Keller Storm, an aspiring henchwoman, my #1 fan. I don't know what that means. I expected something to do with a ventilator or something. And my stranger rival is Hezru, an accidental spawn who's quite attached to me. I don't know why. Maybe they came over with me. That's possible. But I try to be nice and serve them coffee, but they don't drink stuff. So we're still working on that. And I have, for my move, I've had too little ambition to start caring now. And I have chosen 2 more ways to earn service tokens. And one of them is sneak away to doodle on something or someone maybe, and admit that I wasn't paying attention. I expect to do that a lot.
That is fantastic. And finally, Mario, why don't you introduce us to the muscle?
Okay. I am the Iron Butler. You might know me from the past, where my name was Iron Bear and the world was afraid of me. Before those foolish heroes threw me off the floating mountain, and I had to serve in this weak cafe where strength is nothing and there's only obedience. Well, at least the obedience part is something I'm good at. That's what I'm programmed for. So my identity, that is something I've earned through battle and more battle and even more battle. And my body is a weapon, and not just one, it's 1,000 of weapons. And because the flesh is weak, I chose metal. That is far more superior than flesh and bones and blood. So my look is, I have shiny features and the coldest of glares. And I look like something glowing, but even cooler than cool. And how I became a supervillain? Again, I've been violent, I've been competitive, and I've been successful at it until that damn day on the Holy Mountain where they threw me off that damn mountain. I'll never forget that day. And ever since that day, I have been training. That is why my move is the early demon catches the bird. And I can add training montages to our morning scene. Or I could go for social media. That is something I'm really good at naturally, because it's also code and metal. Yeah, that seemed familiar. It works. Algorithms, not too bad. Yeah, I can work with that. Yeah, oh, I even made friends and enemies. Maybe a bit of both. So there is Takashi. That is a talking hound. That is their own master. And that is quite impressive for such an inferior race. I mean, it's not a robot, it's a hound. How can they be their own master? But that, well, they managed it. And then there is Alexa, a dark witch who knows the secret to my power. And unfortunately, I forget that secret, but maybe she will tell me one day.
That's amazing. All right. So let's quickly go back through and do our bonds. So Leah, why don't you? So the way these work, you feel free to target them at any person, or just kind of toss them to the group and say, "Does anybody want to answer this?" That is, they are not like ask left, ask right. They are just kind of general. Anybody can answer them.
All right. So my 2 options are I used you to become politically powerful. Why have you forgiven me? And I've never admitted my unseemly feelings for you. Why do I deem you unworthy? And I think the one I know where I'm pointing it is the second, and I'm up to have anyone pitch me for the first. But May feels like she has unseemly feelings for Jane. But it just tears her apart. How can she like someone who never has enormous plans for himself, for the city? Just how can someone be attractive if they don't have a plan to rule even the cafe? It's so, I hate thinking about it. It makes me feel weird. Yeah, and my other one is, I used you to become politically powerful. Why have you forgiven me? Does anyone feel like that fits their character of our saboteur and our muscle?
Well, if you had some ties to the Soviet Union,
maybe I
see that.
palled around with Iron Bear to win over the young communist faction without being a real believer. So that would say I'd be using you rather than working with you. Why have you forgiven me, Iron Bear?
Because the Soviet Union isn't anymore. So why should I hold a grudge?
John, do you want to ask?
Yeah. Let's see. So my first one is, I stole the heart of someone important to you and discarded them. Why have you forgiven me? I don't have anyone in mind. So does that, would anyone like to claim that?
I think I will, if
Okay.
you're up for that.
Yeah. So why have you forgiven me?
I think it's because, whether this was true or not, like you gave me a 15-minute spiel about how this was part of a larger plan. And if you'd been spiting me, I wouldn't have forgiven you. And if you'd been toying with this person, I wouldn't have forgiven you. But when you convinced me it was part of something bigger, I felt I understood you.
Gotcha. I like that. Okay. And for my second one, I was madly in love with you once, but you rejected me. Why won't you tell me you want? Why won't you tell me you want to be with me? Okay, so this, okay, interesting. This implies, actually, I guess it doesn't have to imply that they really want to be with me. I believe you want to be with me, and you won't admit to it. So Jane or Iron Bear, does that make sense? I feel like this probably makes more sense for Jane. I'm having a hard time squaring falling madly in love with Iron Bear, but you know what? I can get there. I can stretch my mind if we want to.
I mean, I can do that if you want that. I guess I rejected you mainly because I didn't understand what you wanted from me here, and it sounded exhausting anyway. And that's probably I've whatever reason you think I have for not telling you that I want to be with you. Maybe I'm embarrassed to admit that I actually want to do the work here, or maybe I think it's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Sabine.
Well, I have the questions, how does my disgusting nature charm you? And what dreams and ambitions do you have for me? Anybody wants one of these?
I could go with the dreams and ambitions.
Oh yeah. What dreams and ambitions do you have for me?
I want you to be my next martial arts student.
Okay. Okay, that's great. And how does my disgusting nature charm you? Leah, I think what is it that you like about Jane?
Yeah, I think I'm always prepared for everything by having plans upon plans upon plans, and you just adapt or ignore. It's strange. Somehow
Adapt,
you just
ignore,
lie
nap.
there and seem ready for not doing it.
Yeah, I love it.
That's wonderful. And then last but not least, Mario, do you want to ask your two following questions?
Sure. So one is, you saw me at my weakest. Why do you still admire me? And the other one is, I have a soft spot for you. Why have I sworn to protect you and help you become as strong as me?
I'd like to take the second one, if I may. And
Sure.
I think that Tristan likes to help shine Iron Bear, and also provide you with various decorations and like crafts and things to help enhance your physical appearance, which maybe you take that as you will.
That yeah, that is so cool. So like I've got a whole bunch of magnets on me from all your journeys.
You just love those little tourist magnets, and I always bring you one.
It looked like a super badly decorated refrigerator. Okay, and the other one is, you saw me at my weakest. Why do you still admire me?
If nobody else wants that, I will take it. I mean, I probably saw you the second you were thrown off the mountain and just trying to reassemble yourself basically after that fall. And I still think you're pretty rad because you got up. That's and you're still basically you. So that takes work, and I've kind of guess that's important sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was so painful that somebody saw me being weak that I just want to show off with training you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
nobody
that
would
makes
know
sense, because you think I actually am maybe I want that because I admire you for it. That doesn't mean I want it for myself, but
yeah. That is a good misunderstanding.
Amazing. All right, I think that is all of our character building done. And so we are gonna go on our first break. Let's go for 5 minutes, and then we will be back at about 13 after, and we will get started with our morning session. So I will see everybody in a bit. All right, welcome back everyone from our first break. We are going to get started with the morning tasks. So if you scroll over in the Character Keeper, there is a tab that says Morning, Evening, Service Day. Just kind of gives you an overview of what the 3 different phases are. So we're going to start with our morning tasks. In addition to this, I kind of want to see what everyone looks like when they wake up. And so when you do your first one, why don't you also give us a little bit of a montage of like the wake up routine of your villain, because that sounds adorable and wonderful. Since Iron Bear has his early bird catches the worm type move, do you want to go first, since it seems like you have the
Sure.
kind of the jump on everyone else?
I think I just got a shipping container and set it somewhere on a roof. Nobody really knows that it's there, but I'm living in it. Yeah, man, it's real good. I've got like my training ground on said rooftop. And yeah, well, my inner alarm rings, I guess, which makes my head vibrate. It's really uncomfortable, but it does the trick. Then I'm getting up, usually at sunrise. I do my martial arts training. Once that is done, I do like a 3-minute morning routine for my Instagram followers. Some motivational speech, depending on how I'm feeling about it. Something like, yeah, you weak ass, flashbacks. Get your muscles, give your muscles some metal, and then do some, I don't know, push-ups or whatever. Yeah, then I read the manual for the coffee machine, to not forget any steps for work. That is very important, and it's so hard to remember. Why should there be steam coming out? I don't get it. What's with that beans? Yeah, that is weird. They are all dried up. They are not fresh. I thought humans do fresh food. It's complicated. It really is complicated.
I love that. So, which move are you specifically calling out in the first one here?
I would like to give that don't forget to like and subscribe thing. You upload
Okay.
charming vlogs of your life as a butler, describe the video, and gain 1 prestige point.
So yeah,
I mean,
prestige
we
is like
should
the XP
Yeah.
here, just mechanically.
I just would like to erase the charming. That does not seem suitable for my character. Yeah, but I think I already described what kind of vlogs
Yeah.
I'm doing. It's all sports.
Is it like a workout vid? Like,
Yeah, it is. It is like these 3-minute videos, which is like 30 seconds yelling and then 2.5 minutes doing an actual training exercise.
that's amazing. I love that. Yeah, going around in order. Why don't we hop over to May? What is May up to in the morning? Leah, if you are speaking, we cannot hear you. Okay, we will hop over Leah and go to Tristan.
So Tristan's morning routine. The camera opens with a view of Tristan in like the most splayed out fashion on his bed. He's like catty corner with the rugs all twisted around and has this horrible bed head, but somehow it makes him just look even cuter. Hopping out of bed, very anime-like sequence of, brushing teeth, the water of the shower turns on, steamed glass as he's, humming a bit and getting ready. And then you see him sitting and he's actually sipping his own cup of espresso that he's made for himself at home before he even goes to work. And he's scrolling through Instagram and sees a new post by Iron Bear, because of course he follows Iron Bear, and has to like it. And you see him post just heart emoji eyes over and over, just yes, go Iron Bear. And then he puts his things away very neatly into the sink and dishwasher. And as he is stepping out the door, I think there's like a bouquet of roses that have been left from some fan. He's just so touched. Put them inside. I'll put those in fresh water when I get back tonight. And then he's off to the coffee shop.
Amazing. So are you activating, which morning task are you specifically activating?
you think I've looked at the morning tests. I guess I'm supposed to pick that. Oh, okay. So choose 2 morning tests your butler performs. Let's see. Well, how about check in on a friend? Oh, okay. So that would be a different friend. Oh, sorry. I missed looking at these.
Okay.
Okay, let's say I will spend time on social media pages of the cafe responding to customers and inquiries.
Yeah. So what are the customers talking about right now?
I think there is, there's some positive reviews, and so Tristan's responding and saying thank you so much. We try really hard to please. Please do come see us again. And then for the ones that are there's a couple of slightly more negative ones about poor service, and specifically, I think pointing out Tristan's lack of paying attention maybe to others around him. And I'll respond that I'm really so sorry. Had I noticed you, I would have served you immediately. Please do come in again and let us try to serve you better the next time.
That's great. All right. Do we want to hop back to?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Nothing like unplugging a headset and plugging it back in again.
Yeah.
All right.
May.
So we see May's apartment, or rather we kind of pan down from the top, and it's a tangle of like different strings and wires and lasers until we get down to the bed. And an alarm is going off. We see just a hand like reach up out of the blankets, like grab the alarm clock, and then, hit the button to stop it ringing, but then like give it a push and it starts swinging like a pendulum. And then there's kind of just a pan through of how her whole apartment is a Rube Goldberg's machine. So that, the alarm like swings and hits a ball to roll down a ramp, to knock eggs into the frying pan. And all this is going on while she is still mostly in bed as her breakfast gets ready, just like lying all the way down on her phone, looking at the wheat futures market. Because this is how she plans the menu at the cafe, figuring out, even though usually there aren't shortages of anything, but like, how will we save a couple pennies, keeping in mind, oh, there's a storm coming up in the East Pacific that will delay some of the container shipping coming in that has our, disposable lids. So we should have a way to discourage people from using lids. Bread lids, maybe, right? Like, so this week it's all bread lids all the time, even though no one's going to have a real shortage. It's just like the odds of it has gone up by like 0.2%, and she knows that. So that's how she gets ready in the morning, and that is how I look up recipes online and reconsider the cafe's menu. So I'm going to take 2 service tokens.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. And then Sabine, why don't you introduce us to Jane?
Yeah, well, there is I think maybe there is a kind of sandbox in a playground that is next to the cafe. And you can see that in the morning, there's a little dog that is sniffing around the sandbox, and then suddenly startles, ears going up, barks at the sandbox a bit until their owner comes and shoos the dog away. And that's when the sand in the sandbox starts pulling itself together. And and you can see that this is apparently where Jane sleeps, in the sandbox, and starts to forming themselves up into a human cat person thing, and works around the ears until they are pointy as they are supposed to be, yawns, and then trudges over to the coffee shop, where they then peer at the computer and type in outlandish thing to eat, and what comes up is a Gorgon's egg. So they think, that sounds lovely, we should have Gorgon's egg omelette for our morning crowd. how do we get a Gorgon's egg? Oh, well, that's not my problem. I think that May will figure that out. So yeah, that's I'm putting it up on the menu, and I'm taking 1 service token because I didn't put a lot of effort into it or anything, but I did it. Yay. And I think then I will get some coffee, which is an amazing invention. I have no idea why caffeine works on what I use for my nervous system, but it does. And at that point, I will find maybe the Queen of Cups and hang around with her a bit, because I mean she seems nice. She smiles at me, and I will tell her about the Gorgon's egg thing, omelette thing, because I'm guessing that she might actually like that, and that is
Yeah.
and also I will then attempt at least, but maybe I won't make it, attempt to doodle on her dress when she's not looking.
I love that. Yeah, no, I think the way that we've described the queen, she is definitely there, like first thing in the morning. She's always like, you've never seen her like leave or enter the shop. She's always there before you get there, and she's always the last one out. And so yeah, you definitely kind of stumble in to the cafe, and she's already behind the register, like clearing out and making sure that all the right amount of money is in each of the slots. And she kind of looks over at you and smiles and oh, good morning, John. How are you today?
I am very good today. I have been on the computer, and I have found something we should most definitely put on our menu, and it's Gorgon's eggs omelet. It's just sounds like the most amazing thing to offer to our customers, because they don't just come here to drink boring old coffee and eat boring old omelets. They come here for the experience. And if we don't get Gorgon's eggs, we can still maybe just color the omelets blue and claim that they're Gorgon's eggs. People probably don't know the difference anyway, because I have never eaten a Gorgon's egg. Have you eaten a Gorgon's egg ever?
I cannot say that I've eaten a Gorgon's egg. And she kind of shakes her head a little bit. I guess this is better than last week's ideas of live Korean prawns, I guess. But this is...
I like them. It was kind of a challenge, and the cats had something to do.
Yeah, there's so many prawns all over the floor. But I think we can handle omelets. So where do we get these eggs? As she's turned away from you pointedly, like working on other stuff.
And I'm doodling a Gorgon's egg on her dress. And I say, well, maybe May knows. She knows everything.
Yeah, May does.
She's so organized.
May does tend to know an awful lot, so we'll ask her when she gets in. Why don't you go tidy up in the kitchen a little bit? We've got an awful lot of stuff left over from last night.
Sure, I'll do that. I haven't done anything here right now with this pen, which is not in my hand, because it's not in my hand. And I'm going over to the kitchen, but she has a little Gorgon's egg now on her dress.
That's fantastic.
I'm taking a service token for that.
Let's go back the other way. So John, what is Tristan's next service task?
I think next, I'm going to go back to the check-in on a friend arrival. So it says, describe how the interaction goes. The GM may role-play the friend rival. If so, say if there's a possibility they'll show up at the cafe today. Your GM will take note. So I think this means like checking in like over text message, and then there's maybe that leaves if they possibly come in later. Am I reading that right?
That's entirely up to you. This could be like you go and visit Chantel and hang out with her for a little bit, them.
Gotcha.
Or it could be you text them and see how they're going, see how they're doing, invite them to come and visit the cafe. That's whatever you want.
I think I think I'm gonna it's a pre-planned meeting in like a little park that's just outside of the train station. And Chine, rides the train in for work and is on their way to work. And so we cross paths often, and we'll stop and chat in the morning as I'm on my way into the coffee shop.
I love that. So, what are Chinahei's pronouns, real quick?
Let's say any. I feel like an incubus is very fluid.
Okay. Yeah. So, are they coming to work or from work? Are they a graveyard shift?
To work.
To work. So, I think that maybe today you meet up with them and they are not wearing their work clothes.
Chine, is this what is this? Is this a sudden day off? Are you finally taking that vacation I told you to take?
I am taking a vacation, and no, it's not because I got fired. It's because I'm actually taking a vacation. Why did you ask that? No, it's definitely because I'm taking a vacation today.
This is fantastic. I have been saying you need time off. You have to take care of yourself first and foremost. You cannot, work yourself to the bone for others. Where are you going? Are you staying in? Are you going out?
Well, I didn't really have a whole lot of plans. I was wondering if I could come and visit you, and kind of because I really don't really have anywhere else to go right now.
Of course. You are always welcome in the shop.
Yay!
I will set aside your favorite nook if you want to bring a book or something, and I'll find some time. We'll chat.
Oh, I already
We'll
did.
catch up.
And he pulls out like 3 books from his jacket. I'm prepared.
That's all for that's all for today. Okay. I think you're set then.
And they start to just kind of do a little skip and follow you off to wherever your next train is.
Excellent.
May, what is your last morning task?
So I think it's also going to be checking in on a friend or, a semi-friend. I think, as I'm heading to the metro to get to work, I see kind of, huddled in a corner, like waiting to drop on someone, is Scorlax, a slovenly evil and connoisseur of nightmares. Someone I've worked with professionally in various ways, but so boring, and really into like claiming that he has personal insight into other people because of their nightmares, no matter how chaotic and messy they are. So, he spotted me. I have to talk to him.
I love this.
Hi, Scorlax.
I love this. Like you see him and he's like scuttling along the beams to over you, and then just like drops down in front of you and tries to like jump scare you.
Oh, it's very frightening. Yes. So inconsiderate of you to do that on the way to work.
Yes, I'm so villainous. Hello,
Yes.
Maelstrom. It's been a while.
Oh, well, I figure you're very busy, and surely at some point law enforcement will grow interested in what you're doing.
Oh, yes, I've been
It's
very
definitely of interest to them. It's not at all completely below their notice.
And he kind of like puts an eyebrow up. I think you're mocking me.
No, you're still active on the beat. I'm the one who threatened the whole city and was sentenced to community service.
Yes, about that. I've heard that what is it? You're serving coffee now? Oh, how...
Yes, I'm still working in liquids, but in a more acceptable altered state.
Terribly dreadful. Well, if you ever find any interesting use for my talents, then you know where to find me.
Oh,
or
believe
I'll
me,
find you. And he kind of like winks at you.
brother. Yeah, whenever you fit well into a scheme, whenever there's a Scorlax-shaped hole in a cunning plan I've developed, you're the first Scorlax I'll call.
Yes. And he like spider webs back up to the ceiling and goes off to bother some other pedestrians. That's fantastic. Do you want him to show up today?
Plausibly. I think I'm even on it, so
Okay.
pleased either way.
We'll see what happens. Maybe he'll come by and cause some mischief. That's fantastic. And then finally, what is Iron Bear's final morning activity?
I think Iron Bear is Iron Butler right now and already working in a cafe, even though it's not open yet and nobody's supposed to be there. But now he can turn on a loud music, which namely is a Russian version of Kraftwerk. And most noticeable, it's he's cleaning all the metal bits and pieces in the restaurant and he's polishing them. Then he finds some fingerprints or wherever on his metal skin and he polishes that. And then like we see an overview of the restaurant and it's like everything is blinking in the dim lights that there are. But the rest of it is quite dirty and there's spider webs in the ceiling and whatnot. And we can see Iron Butler standing there, looking at it, looking really confused, not really getting what's wrong with the picture. Then he flips through a manual he has written for his duties, and then, oh, spider webs. And then he puts the arm and it becomes a telescope arm and he just like cleans the spider webs off the ceiling.
That's amazing. Are you using your villainous nature to create bizarre solutions for mundane problems?
Sort of seems like, yeah.
It sounds like what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can grab some service tokens for that.
Cool.
Do you want the Queen of Cups to show up in this scene?
I think that is a really good idea. Since they never leave. Yeah. They. Yeah. Okay, so they never leave anyway. So at some point, I mean, there's loud music. She will notice.
Yeah, I think you first notice her come by when there's like a tap on the side of your helmet.
And
you can see her like shouting.
Yeah. And I just jump aside and taking defense position. And oh, it's you. Good morning. How may I be of service?
And she's shouting and you can't hear a word she's saying over the music.
Okay. Yeah, I just shoot an electronic impulse at the speakers and fry them.
Thank you. I was going to say that customers will be arriving soon, and I was hoping that maybe you wouldn't leave the music going on quite so long because you did scare away a couple of the customers last time.
That is not an issue anymore. I already solved the problem.
Yes, I can see that, and now I have to go and fix the radio, but thank you.
I have a couple minutes. I could fix them.
No, that is quite all right. I have a few moments to spare myself. It looks like you're in the middle of cleaning, so I will leave you to your work. Do keep in mind not to touch that panel. And she points over at one of these more intricately carved wooden panels that somehow doesn't have any dust or spider webs anywhere near it. I don't know why, but people keep disappearing when they touch that. So I would avoid that if I were you.
Okay. I don't really fancy anything wood, so don't worry.
Oh. I mean, you are going to clean the ceiling and the wooden beams, correct?
My manual only talks about spider webs and polishing the metal. Should I clean the ceiling?
Yes, you should add dusting to your manual if it was at all possible. It's a good idea
Very well.
to dust every once in a while.
I will keep that in mind.
Yes, thank you, Iron Butler. Oh. Customers. And with that, I think we will get started with our service day. We have a little bit of time, so I think we'll get started doing service day stuff now before we take our next break, if that's good with everybody. So the service day, when the service day begins, we ask, is the queen calm and happy? I think so. I don't think that we've done anything too terrible to piss them off, besides maybe her dress getting a couple of marker bits on it. Is the cafe clean? Is the cafe clean and ready to receive our esteemed guests? Yes. Iron Butler has done a great job of getting everything nice and clean, so that is definitely another +1. Is there a butler with 5 prestige points? No, we don't have any prestige points yet. Was yesterday a particularly bad service day? No, I don't think so. Did a butler unleash hell yesterday? No. And is there a butler, at least one butler with 3 stress? No. So we are at +2. So anybody who wants to can roll 2d6 +2.
I think Iron Butler should roll because he cleaned up.
That is a 7 + 2, a 9.
That is a 9. On a 7 to 9, choose one of the following. The room is full of happy regulars. An essential NPC appears, name who they are and why they're important. Do at least one of your dreams for the cafe coming true, or everyone works together like a well-oiled machine and everyone has advantage on their next at your service roll.
Has anybody an idea of what to choose? Okay. Then I'll just go with the third option because seems fine. We were well prepared.
Yeah, all right. So everyone is running well together. So one of the basic moves is, all of the basic moves are considered at your service moves. And so anytime you roll one of the basic moves, you get advantage on your first one. So, yeah, so I think we're gonna start off. I think a decent spot to start off would be with Tristan and Chinahe, who why don't you give us a quick little description of like what their favorite nook is? As you mentioned that they have like a little favorite spot in the cafe.
Yeah, I think there's a nook. So it's right. We're in a coffee shop in a train station, and so I'm picturing one like it's off the tracks. Like there's the waiting platform, and then it's the coffee shop face is right there, so you can enter it pretty much from right by the train tracks, and it's kind of a U shape. Like there's a parallel part, it goes back, and then there's another one. And their favorite nook is on that other side, where there's the opposite side door for the interior of the train station. And I think they like it because it's in a corner with all this like, cozy wood paneling, and it's like a little rounded booth, and it looks out onto the passageway where you can see everyone like walking between different shops and they stopping to stare at the screens for the train times and everything.
Yeah, I love that it's like half. They're there half to read a book and half the people watch, and a little bit of coffee at the same time. Yeah, and so they sit down and kind of look up at you expectantly, like, are you going to? They kind of glance at the seat next to them.
And I'll glance at my watch and say, I have a few minutes before anything really picks up. I can sit for a minute. The others will take care of this. It's fine.
And they smile broadly and just kind of look over at you and politely close the book and put it in the little stack of books that they've got set up next to them. So you're always the one with the best gossip, and it's been a while since we've kind of had a few minutes to chat. You know that white-caped Doofus, who seems to be kind of running around all over the place. The one who tried to lock me up, what was it, 2 weeks ago? That oh, what's her name? I don't even remember her name now. Anywho, what's she been up to? You seem to be all over her social media feed the last time we talked.
She is just on a tear lately. I think she is, I've heard she's making a push to take lead of the supers. She's looking to push the other out right now. And you didn't hear it from me, but I hear she's even crossing the line a bit and bringing in some henchmen to help her, perhaps dabbling a bit on the other side.
She's trying to push out the Gauntleteer. Oh,
that's right. Yes.
What a bold move. This is definitely going to be exciting. I don't think it's going to pan out very well for her, but
in any event, it should be fun to watch.
It would be very fun to watch. Oh, this is so exciting. I love this. This is fantastic.
But tell me, Chene, how are you really? Is everything good with you?
This sounds like you are activating "How are you today?" which is one of the service moves. So when you ask a customer, "How are you today?" say how you are putting the customer at ease, and roll plus as many service tokens as you want.
Yeah, so I think it's as straightforward as just checking in on a friend, and I don't know, I'm still kind of a little wary of Janae suddenly, not going to work, and even though they say it's a vacation, maybe there's something else there, and so I feel like need to check in on them.
Were you striving for love and friendship earlier during the conversation?
No, I was, well, I mean, maybe. I'm trying to keep it all straight in my head. I was just looking at that now, and so that's what I was trying to go for, and then I didn't even realize I was triggering "How are you today?" So that works too.
So yeah, I'd say you were striving for love and friendship during that first part of the conversation. You can take as a couple of service tokens to add to this.
Okay. So yeah,
we're still getting into the moves. So
yeah. Okay, so I roll 2d6 plus
as many service tokens as you want to spend on this roll.
Gotcha. So I'll spend 1.
Okay.
So let's roll that. That's 10.
Okay. You also get to roll with advantage if you want to. You can roll a third one. And
all right.
The way advantage works in this game is you get to pick which 2 you get. It's not inherently the highest, because the highest can send you into that 11 plus range. So a 10 is kind of what you wanted anyway.
Yeah, and so I just rolled 1 extra d6. It was a 3 which would have made a 9. So yeah,
Okay.
it's the same result.
Perfect. So on a 8 to 10, you connect with your customer meaningfully. Your customer opens up to you. On top of that, choose one of the following. You gain specific information on how to serve the guest today. You hear a reliable rumor or juicy gossip, or you learn something reliable. You learn something important. Ask the GM any related question and they will answer honestly or declare what you've learned.
Let's go with you gain specific information on how to serve the guest today.
Okay. Yeah. So Jinhei kind of smiles at you. This is the best vacation day ever. I get to spend it entirely with you. This is fantastic. Normally, when I take a vacation like this, it's just kind of being alone in my dingy little empty apartment, and it's so boring, and I hate it. It sucks. But this is much better, much better, much better. So I think the specific information on how best to serve them today is they are kind of expecting you to come and visit every once in a while, and so they want to see you, they want to chat with you, and so the best way to serve them is to regularly come back and provide conversation, even if you're in the middle of something else that might be more important, like your job.
Yeah, and I think, right, this is the exact point in the conversation where either I'm like realizing I've probably overstayed and late now for getting into work, or maybe someone's yelling for me and like, where the heck is Tristan?
Yeah, I love the image of like Iron Bear coming around the corner and being like, Tristan, you are needed in the kitchens, or whatever it is. That's fantastic. Yeah, so let's hop over to May, who I think is probably, would you say May is more front desk or back room? Like, are you?
Definitely back room where there are more supplies to manage.
Yeah, I think that there's like you're getting the you've rigged up maybe this like Rube Goldberg line of orders that kind of fly in on this string, and you pull them down and are moving all this stuff around. That's fantastic.
I've been working on installing cameras, all along the street on the light posts to warn us when regulars are approaching, so that as they open the door, we can have their order ready. I've been trying to miniaturize cameras so that I won't get caught doing this, and I'd like another person who works here to place them, because it's technically a violation of my parole if I place them.
I love that. Why don't we roll a maybe this is like one of the first tests of that system. If you want to roll coming right up for that.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I'm just remembering, which move is it we all have advantage on? Is it
whatever your first basic move is?
All right, then that's this one.
That's this one. So when you tell a customer coming right up, describe what delightful food or drink you are preparing for them, and then roll plus service tokens.
All right. So then just let's see, and I put in the modifier here. Yep.
Also, I would say this ridiculous contraption is definitely using your villainous nature to create bizarre solutions for mundane problems.
Excellent. That is true. So that means that I get to take an additional service token, correct?
You get to take between 1 and 3 tokens. So you get to take as many as you want.
I'll just take 1 for now. That's plenty.
Okay. Quick mechanical note: if you ever hit 5 service tokens, you basically get too stressed and you unleash hell. And so that's what that unleash hell thing is. So.
All right. So I guess what I see on the video feed is a local city councilwoman approaching, and she's always on like a different, like a system of like supplements and nootropics, right? Where it's like bulletproof coffee and all these different additions. And so, I kind of pull up her Instagram as I spot her on the video, and I see she's switched to putting yogurt in her coffee as the cream. I'm like, I'm ready for this. Butter is weird too, and people really do that. So, all right. So I'm rolling with advantage. I can pick what I want here. I'm adding 3, and this is a move where getting the hang of the basic moves. Getting the hang of the basic moves.
So you roll, you actually spend tokens on this. So it's not
Oh.
plus whatever tokens you have.
Oh.
It's however many you want to spend.
Do I decide that ideally before I roll?
Ideally, yes, you would decide that before you roll.
That's fair. All right, let's say it was 2. I haven't done all the math out, but since I've rolled with advantage, I pick. Now, for advantage on something where 2 high is not great, is advantage here I pick whichever combination
You pick
of dice.
whichever combination you want.
All right, excellent. So I've got a 6, a 1, and a 3, and I will pick. Yeah, it's just that going over is pretty cool. So I'm going to pick the 6 and the 3, a 9, and then add 2 to it for an 11.
It's an 11. All right. So
because I'm looking at the move description. This is great.
On an 11 or higher, things get out of hand. Choose one of the options from above, but take stress. Describe which customers become envious, overwhelm the cafe with orders, or describe how your villainous powers assert themselves in a terribly funny way. And the 3 options are: your customer's satisfaction is your satisfaction, remove 1 stress. You've learned how to provide better service, take 1 to 3 service tokens, or you become the customer's preferred butler and gain a prestige point.
Okay, so to handle the mechanics first, I'm adding a stress from going over. I've gone down to 1 service token from spending 2 here. I'm having a little trouble doing that. There we go. And I'm going to take the prestige point. So I think as she walks in, I've got the order right at the counter before she's paid, and she's like, "Oh, I appreciate your attentiveness, but I've switched." And I'm like, "To full-fat Greek yogurt. I'm aware. And with a vote coming up this afternoon, I can see why you're focused on being as prepared and brilliant as possible." And there's a journalist following her, so I think it's kind of the coterie of other city council members, and kind of everyone knows in our world and in this world, there's kind of a group of like politics influencers, right, who just are very into politics on social media all the time, and want to show how closely they follow it. So suddenly, like, there's a big, equivalent of Twitter blast about the Greek yogurt and the big vote, and the way to show support for the councilwoman is to come order your Greek yogurt coffee too.
Oh,
I think as
no.
this gets trending, I have a sticker machine I keep at the office for things like this. I'm trying to print stickers of the hashtag to go on those orders.
Oh, that's amazing. So yeah, you've got these dozens of people now coming in, all ordering this weird yogurt coffee that you've come up with. Oh, that's good. And I think, what are Jean and Iron Butler kind of reacting to this sudden wave of people?
I mean, more people. I'm trying to see that nobody bothers the cats too much. Because the cats, they need their beauty nap. And if there are too many people, and if they're too shouty because they want Greek yogurt, what's wrong with the other sort of yogurt anyway? Anyway, I will look out for the cats a little. I like the cats. They have the right mindset. I understand that. Also, they have the right ears.
That's great. And then Iron Butler, how are you responding to this wave of new people?
I'm trying to help because I'm supposed to I'm supposed to help out at a cafe. It's my shift.
So are you trying to ferry people into their seats, get people kind of organized, structure it? Are you trying to bring orders back and forth?
I think I just help preparing because after the first 35 people ordering that yogurt drink, it's quite obvious that there's more of them coming in. So I'm just trying to prepare as much of those beverages at the same time as possible. Is that the coming right up move?
I think so. I'm gonna
Okay.
say let's hold off on rolling dice and take our second break because we are a little bit past the top of
Sure.
the hour. So let's take a quick 5-minute break. And I will see everybody back at about 8 after.
Yeah, cool.
Sounds good. See you a bit. All right. So yes, Iron Butler, you said you wanted to help out by making more of these ridiculous yogurt coffees that everyone seems to be very interested in, if not excited for. We'll see how that goes. So yes, that does make sense for coming right up. When you tell a customer coming right up, describe what delightful food or drink you are preparing for them. How many service tokens do you want to spend?
I go with the 1.
Okay. And since this is your first roll of the night, you get advantage. Means you get to roll 3 dice and take whichever 2 you like.
Yeah. That is a, oh, it's 7 and 8. Okay, yeah. I can work with that.
Okay.
And I think what that looks on screen is there is a big robot standing behind the coffee machine. And after trying to prepare each drink, like one drink after another, the robot stands there, closes its eyes for a second, then opens its eyes, and all of a sudden, like the arms are changing, and you can see like one of those laser cannons coming up, and I'm just hacking the heck out of the coffee machine and overheating everything so we could have more coffee way faster than possible. And lucky me, this time the coffee machine does not explode.
Yes, I love that. So you're overriding the coffee machine, just blowing everything up, trying to blowing everything out of proportion, trying to get as much coffee as you can, passing these cups back to May, who's in the back room spooning yogurt into everything and mixing the proportions. So you get to choose either your customer satisfaction is your satisfaction, you remove one stress. You've learned how to provide better service, take some more service tokens, or you believe you become the customer's preferred butler and you get a prestige point.
I'd like to go with the prestige point because I think I already I still got the service tokens and I'm also overreacted again, so I think I'm not lacking any service tokens anytime soon.
Yes. Do you want to go to 5? Because you could reasonably overload at this point, but that is.
I'm aiming for it. I'm not sure if it's a good timing because the Unleash Hell move sounds pretty intense.
Yeah, if you want to hold on to that for later, that makes sense. So we'll keep that in mind that you're aiming for that. But yeah, so you get a prestige point. I think becoming the customer's preferred butler, since you're serving everybody, I think this is like maybe like a social media fame of like people posting pictures of the Iron Butler just like multi-hands creating all this coffee. People are like, oh, this is awesome. This is so cool. We love this.
I think what makes it go viral is that while doing this, I'm balancing a couple of cats on my body that just sit there and nap.
Yes, that's adorable. I love it. Speaking of cats, I wanted to give our shapeless John, a
Um,
Jen, okay? an
Yeah.
opportunity to roll some dice. I think based on your description, I think this is Give Me a Moment, dear, honestly.
I think what I would like to go for actually is I would like to go to a particularly obnoxious customer who really wants to pet a cat, and the cats aren't really happy now, and they don't want to be grabbed and petted like this. So I would like to use Might I Recommend when I go up to them and try to explain to them how they should handle a cat, because what they're doing, the cats are they are sentient beings, and they have their own mind, and they are not decorations to be fondled, but you should maybe try to seduce them a little. Like, first you have to ignore them, because the one thing that a cat does not like is being ignored, and then you have to play around with something they like. I recommend this ball of string. Look at this amazing, look what that ball of, look at this ball of string. It's really nice, and if you play around with it, then the cat will absolutely look at that and be very focused on this. Take the ball of string and play with it, please, before I start and all the cats rush me.
I'm imagining this customer that you're helping is like a 4-year-old or a toddler.
No, I think it's not a toddler. I think it's a middle-aged
okay,
woman
yeah.
who has her Greek yogurt coffee and has taken a sip and doesn't like it, but it's cool, so she has to. And then she just grabbed the cat like, you will be petted now, or I see the manager.
Oh no. Yeah. So when you say Might I Recommend, describe the proposal you hope your customer will accept and roll plus service token.
Yeah, well, my proposal is that she plays around with a string and amuses me, maybe. Yeah, I will use 1 service token, and I roll with advantage, right? Because it's my first service move. Yay. Okay, so this does not go so well because I've rolled a 6 and now it's a 7. What does that mean? That means villainous and mundane shenanigans occur. Yay! I may mark 2 stress to minimize these consequences. Why would I do that? Stress is bad for me. I've heard that, and shenanigans sounds about right up my alley anyway, and I apologize to the rest of the crew later. I can look very dejected with these ears. Yeah, but I imagine what happens is maybe that she tries to start playing with the string, and then, well, I want to play with the string, and then it gets a little confused about who's playing with what and who's petting what. And at one point she tries to pet me, and I do not appreciate being petted all that much. And then one of the cats tries to eat her Greek yogurt coffee, and then gets spooked, and the Greek yogurt coffee spills around, and everybody, me, her, the cat, gets Greek yogurt coffee on them.
Oh yeah, the coffee goes everywhere. There's now there's a cat who's covered in coffee and yogurt and is running circles around the shop.
Mm-hmm.
And this woman who did not follow your advice at all and decided that she was going to try and pet the, like, I feel like it's like the very mechanical like pet, and just like started basically smacking this cat. Did not do a very good job.
No, that's not how you pet a cat. That's
No,
really
I
not.
think, yeah, I think this cat is gonna end up running back through the kitchen, and right into all of the perfectly set up equipment that May has got set up.
I'm sorry. These are cats. That's what they do, right? I mean,
yeah. So May, how are you dealing with that? How are you dealing with this incumbent rambunctious cat.
I mean, this is something I'm familiar with working in this cafe, so of course I'm prepared. I have you see me like slam a button near me, and I'm triggering like a little catnip release that will kind of create catnip falling from this, from a little release pod, and leading the cats like in almost a spiral out and back into the cafe as they follow it. And I think that might also be a coming right up move, just for the cats.
Maybe. I'm a little more interested in doing something like I'll clean that right up, or give me
Oh
a
yeah,
moment where
that looks fun.
you're trying to like deal with some of the problems of the cafe without having the rest of the customers get too involved with it.
Yes, that works for me. All right, so I'm going to spend my 1 service token on this guy. So out comes the catnip trail. So that's a 6 in total.
And were you
Yeah,
roll? I
so
think you were rolling. I mean, the 7 or lower results are the same no matter which one you were rolling. Devilish or mundane shenanigans occur. This can't go well. Maybe you're still experimenting with this catnip delivery system, and you've upped the dosage a little bit too much. And so there's way too much catnip to keep this contained to just the one cat. And so now not only do you have one cat who's covered in coffee running around, now you have a bunch of cats that have all followed the smell back into the kitchen. And you've got this like little herd of cats that are just kind of rolling around on the floor, and all this catnip that's now everywhere.
yeah, I'm using some of my sock puppet accounts to try and like seed the idea that people want a catnip scented coffee drink. Perhaps it's the opposition drink for this mysterious vote that hasn't been specified. It's for proposition Q.
Proposition Q. Oh, that's not ominous at all. Yeah, how is Tristan trying to keep everybody? I think we need our smooth talker to keep kind of the customer base in line. What is Tristan up to?
So I picture there's this clashing sound of things, noises coming from the back kitchen, and Tristan is in the front. I think Tristan is definitely more front of the house, and Tristan has moved around to the front of the counter. There's this, as the wave of people has come in, and Tristan is standing there ready to receive everyone and preemptively take an order and say, don't worry, we're higher than normal volumes, but we can handle it. We have the best staff. And as this noise from behind is erupting out, he's maybe starting to just try and tell a story to the line, keep them all preoccupied while they wait for their drinks, and don't mind the noises back there.
That's great. I honestly think this is what would you do without me? Which is not a basic move. This is a situational move. This is the helping out move, where you can roll when you say, honestly, what would you do without me? Describe why you care about your fellow butler, and then roll plus service tokens. On an 8 to 10, your help is exactly what they needed. Describe what it is, and you ignore the previous roll, and you basically get to act like you got an 8 to 10, and you get to clear some stress or gain some XP, depending on. Or would you do?
Yeah, I like that. Question, you know, the saboteur's villainous nature is sort of being flirty and charismatic. Well, no, I'm not. This is not a bizarre solution, so never mind. That doesn't apply here. This is a pretty straightforward solution.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have not.
I was gonna say, does the mask actually have like any like mind control power type deal, like a poison ivy pheromones type thing, or is he actually just that charismatic?
No, I do think there's definitely it is like some sort of pheromone thing. Though, yeah, no, let's go with that. It's a pheromone emission, because that lines up with the options I chose as well for the villain identity.
Cool, I like that. So yeah, why don't you roll some dice?
Okay. So yeah, I do have a service token. I will use it. So I'll go down to 0 to give me a +1. D6s. There we go. Modifier. Okay, that's a 10.
That is a 10. That's awesome. So on an 8 to 10, your help is exactly what they needed. Describe what it is. You ignore the previous roll, and the butler acts as if they had rolled an 8 to 10. You can clear 1 stress or gain a prestige point.
So I don't have any stress, so I will gain a prestige. And yeah, I think it goes sort of how I described of Tristan becomes, has enough stage presence to draw everyone's attention and calm everyone down and don't worry about those noises. Those are totally fine. That's supposed to happen. And everyone accepts that, well, it's just a busy time of day. There's a train coming, lots of people trying to get coffee. It is what it is.
Awesome. All right, that changes my roll to an 8 to a 10. And so I think kind of, there's a moment where like there's something that's been juddery, and now everything's working smoothly. The cats are moving out of my way, but I do get to take the option to discover something hidden or powerful in the cafe. So I feel like as the cats have wandered around or have spilled things, they're revealing some hidden thing, and I'm wondering what that might be.
Oh, yeah. Is it one of these like mysterious rune encrusted panels that like one of these cats maybe just like runs, like scrambles and like skids, does like the running in place as they try and turn, but they end up just like slamming into the side of this panel and they just go right through it.
Fascinating. I think as the cat goes through it, I like unholster a tiny like tracker gun I have and like fire a tracker at the disappearing cat so I can see what's up.
Where's the most interesting place this cat can end up? I think that this cat ends up like, do you have like a little digital readout or something?
Of course.
It says plane of existence Asgard.
Fascinating. I like, you see like me make a small like just like eyebrows face, which is the face when like my plans have shifted. Also, just to add a little like retcon or further con, I think let's have someone walk into the cafe with, just because we're, in a superhero story, technically, a rolled up newspaper that says like, vote today on Proposition Q, Superhero Registration Act. Very traditional.
Yes, very traditional. I love it. That's amazing. And maybe they do order the catnip flavored coffee just to see what that looks like.
The new hashtag, and this is for the pro registration, is now hashtag who will bell the cat.
Oh no. That's fantastic. So I think the chaos from all of these cats running around and all of this has kind of died down a little bit, and people are kind of settling in. It's very full now because you've got this kind of big social media buzz going on. And I think one of the regulars who's kind of in the back and not particularly thrilled at all of the people running around. I think that there's like this big kind of earth djinn who's set up in one of the corner booths. He's got this big trench coat and like a fedora on to try and hide who he is, but he's obviously like 8 feet tall, and his hands and face are this like floating rocks that just kind of hover over the drink that he's very carefully trying not to break, the little mug. Who's interested in serving this little djinn?
Me. I want to doodle on him totally, but I need to get close to him because this is very interesting, and I have to distract him now. I mean, I have to distract him with service, of course. That's how we do this here, right? As I understand it. So I need a plan. Oh no, I'm not good with plans. Anyways, I'm going up to him, and I mean, I'm pretty much sand basically, and maybe I let that show through because he's an earth djinn, and maybe he appreciates that a little at least. And so I hope, we should totally do a hashtag sand in my pants or something, because you should have sand flavored coffee. I will suggest that. I will totally suggest that to the djinn.
Okay.
Because that is the secret. That is the secret. We had Greek yogurt today, and we had catnip, but the real third, and everything that is in freeze is amazing, right? The third specialty for the day is sand coffee.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and so this maybe since this guy is a regular, are you already kind of his favorite butler? Like the two of you kind of have a thing because you're made of sand and he's this earth elemental.
Sure. I mean, yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that.
I think
that makes sense. So when you go up to chat with him, you can tell that he is pretty annoyed at all of the noise and all of the stuff going on. He always just kind of wants to be off in a corner and left alone, but now all these people are here and it's very busy, and he's getting a little flustered and stressed. You said you wanted to kind of go up and suggest this coffee to him.
yes.
I have a question. Are you kind of suggesting what he should do, or are you flirting with him?
Both?
Both?
I mean, yeah, I know it's two different moves. What's the suggestion? Is my dear, if I may be so bold, right?
My dear, if I could be so bold is the the kind of like flirty move, and then might I recommend is the here, try this. Let's see how it is.
Oh, I think if I could be so bold, I think I'm totally trying to flirt with him. I have no idea what that means, but that sounds like it's fun. And he seems like a stable person.
I love this. Yeah, so when you say, my dear, if I may be so bold, describe your devious charisma and daring charm. Roll plus service tokens.
Oh, well, my devious charisma is not so very devious. I mean, I'm basically leaning into the whole connection that we have via the sand earth thing. And I mean, I'm a bit awkward, really, because I'm not used to all of this and coffee and drink and things and stuff. But I'm trying, and I have these ears. They are very expressive ears. And
I mean, you are being pretty devious if your whole goal here is to get close enough to doodle on him with your marker.
Yeah, that's oh yeah, I forgot about that, but that was totally the plan. I will take a token for a needlessly complicated plan. And then I will roll and spend the token to roll, or we'll spend 2 tokens because this is important. I have to make this roll and not cause more chaos, because otherwise somebody will yell at me. I don't like that much. Oh, I've rolled a 9, so it's an 11.
That
That's
is an
maybe
11.
it's a bit going overboard, right?
On an 11 or higher, things get out of hand. Choose from
Mhm.
one from above, but take one stress. Describe how your
Okay.
villainous charm reveals unintended and hilarious side effects.
Okay.
The other
I will.
option is that since you are only one away from the edge, somebody could activate what's a little stress between friends and say how they're helping you out and move it up or down by 1.
I could absolutely do that.
Yes, thank you. You're my favorite. You're also kind of Earth with the metal thing, right? That's amazing. You're the best, my best co-butler.
Oh, I should have brought this up when Leah rolled oh no, you rolled a 6. I was gonna say it was just far enough. Dang it. Sorry.
Though with
I mean,
a friend and my ooze, I could have made it, but it all worked out. I got helped anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So how is Iron Butler helping out here?
I think Iron Butler just comes over and is like interfering with just cleaning the table. And that just so I'm like lifting everything up, clean the table, dust off the earth guy because he seems a bit dusty, and I learned earlier that's not okay. And yeah, so
That's my sand. I was trying to. Okay, I guess. Thank you.
I don't know. I don't know any better.
Well, maybe he doesn't like my sand flying over him. That's fair. It's a good idea. I shouldn't sprinkle on people. That I've been told that before. Also, it distracts him, and I can doodle on him. Yes.
Yes, it's just enough of a distraction to keep this poor Jin at bay while Jean doodles all over him. So when you roll an 8 to 10, you get to your customer swoons in response. So they are smitten. Yes.
I have sort of a paint the scene question for this. How does your doodling that you most likely didn't really do consciousness, like really conscious, relate to the prophecy about the cafe and our queen?
That's an interesting question. I like that one. What do we know what the prophecy is? Have we said anything about what it is? Just that she has to take care of the cafe. So I think it is the doodle is clearly a cat, and it is also very clearly one of the cats that runs around this cafe, right? And maybe it's the Queen of Cups' favorite cat, or the oldest one, or the one who's always around her. And it's the doodle of that cat looking out, and you can see that this cat is always looking at something specific. And maybe I'll throw this question to somebody else. What is that doodle cat looking at, and why could it be so important? And maybe Tristan wants to answer that.
I think maybe the cat is always looking towards the exit. We've said the queen never seems to leave. The cat maybe doesn't leave either. We don't know why. The door's open.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool. Yeah. So that's the doodle done. The Jin are pleased, and I have to choose one of the options. Customer's happiness is my happiness. I don't have any stress. Learn something valuable. Service tokens. Preferred butler. I take. I mean, maybe I've learned something valuable here. because of what that cat looks like. It's weird. And also, I mean, I want to have a good relationship with him. I'm not very interested in prestige. That only means that I have to comment on stuff on social media, and that sounds like nah. I'm taking 2 prestige token, 2 service tokens. Ugh. And I take also the dual service token. So that, oh, I've got 4. Yay, nice.
Cool. Yeah, I love this image of like Iron Bear lifts up the table and does a quick sweep and puts the table back down, and all of a sudden Jean is like right next to this Jin, and they're like right up next to each other in this booth, and they just kind of look at each other. And this Jin like grumbles and growls, and his voice is just like rocks grinding together. Somehow you understand what he's saying, and he's a little bit embarrassed at this moment. He's like, if rocks could blush, he'd be blushing right now, and he's kind of stammering. He was not expecting you to be so close. And I think he like politely just kind of like scoots away a little bit, but he maybe this will blossom a little bit later. I have a question. Was this whole like lifting and like doing ridiculous stuff creating a bizarre solution for a mundane problem, Iron Butler?
I would like to get the token, but I don't really see how that's like something really bizarre.
I want to give you this opportunity, so if you can think of a better scene to trigger one of your other token gaining moves, then go for it.
Oh, yeah, I think I just uplift the table and I sweep under the table. Then I put the table back down, and there's still some dishes from the last customer. And I turn up my wrists like this, and out comes a flamethrower, and I'm just outright burning burning the cup that was standing there. Maybe that should do.
Yeah, that definitely is a bizarre solution. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Then I'm at 5.
So that puts you to 5. So when you unleash hell, you are the embodiment of hell's strength and violence, but even a supervillain can only take so much. Determine the biggest problem in the cafe and describe how you go completely overboard in addressing it with your villainous power. What do you think is the biggest problem right now? I think it's very busy, and there are maybe now that there are these 2 different political parties that have both been brought to the same cafe. Maybe there's a like a kind of a conflict brewing there.
But still, from Iron Butler's perspective, the biggest problem with the cafe is that they used so much wood and natural materials to build it. That doesn't make sense at all. And while I'm burning the cup and everything, maybe I should just burn all the wooden interior. That seems like a really reasonable thing to do. I mean, that if you have all metal surface, it's easier to clean, it's more hygienic. It's like that. Yeah, why would you build something out of wood? Doesn't make sense, really.
Okay, so I think, yeah, you're just kind of like going overboard and starting to like burn things away. And I feel like everyone else in the cafe is at this point starting to like kind of like, whoa, what's going on? Freaking out. Does somebody want to hop in here and either try and calm down Iron Butler, or like distract the clients, or how do we want to do this?
I would be happy to jump in with an "I'm worried about you."
I'll go and distract the customers and tell them that this is an art installation or something.
Yeah.
And
so
how
Tris-
is me burning the interior part of the master plan?
Oh, well, it's that the health inspector is coming, and we wouldn't be doing this except it's required by the city. Take it up with the health department. If you haven't seen other coffee shops doing it, it's because they don't take regulations as seriously as we do.
I love that. So let's start with this. I'm worried about you. So Tristan, when you tell another butler, I'm worried about you, describe your concern and attempt to reach your fellow butler's heart. Roll plus service tokens.
Iron Bear, it's just, I can appreciate what you're going for, but you realize this is an antique here. This is some old things. Why don't we refocus our energy on ourselves? Maybe there's some things that we can improve on you. Do you we can shine some of your parts, or do you need something done? I'm a little concerned here. Are you doing okay?
I will do much better once all this wooden interior is gone. But what do you mean concentrate the energy on myself? Should I rewire my circuits?
That sounds extreme. I don't think we have to go to that length. Maybe we just take a moment and appreciate who we are. And there's a lot to be gained from just practicing some stillfulness, some mindfulness, and just not being so busy and destructive all the time. What do you say? Let's go sit down. I think we're about due for a 5-minute break anyways. We've had the big morning rush. Maybe we just sit down for a moment and we just kind of take it in. Have you met Shanae? I could introduce you to my friend.
Meeting new people sounds quite interesting. And also, I just realized there is a fingerprint on my upper arm. Maybe you could polish that.
Absolutely.
Do you want to roll the move real quick before we get too far away?
Yeah. I don't think I have any service tokens. Well, would this qualify as striving for friendship?
I could help you here. I mean, it's a little stress between friends, right?
I think this is either striving for love and friendship or trying to bring out the beauty in someone. So
Yeah. Okay. So I determined the token amount, or you tell me?
You can take between 1 and 3, however many tokens you want.
Okay. I'm gonna take 2 because I feel greedy taking 3. I'll roll 0. So let's see, and then maybe, or I'm not gonna add any service tokens on those, and then we'll see maybe if I need help after I rolled a 2d6. I got an 11, so actually, yeah, if I could get a -1.
I would like to help. I can help by offering a little sanding down of your metal parts. I mean, you really seem to need that. That with that fingerprint, like.
Yeah, there's like a little scorch mark that you need to buff out.
Maybe all these magnetic pins added a little bit of too much electromagnetic fields for my circuit brain.
That's good. And so, yeah, do we want to, I kind of want to hop over and see what Jean and May are doing to kind of distract the crowd, keep everybody back, and how is that going?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've read up on all the cities, regulations for coffee shops and regulations generally. This is always good to know the exact letter of the law, which technically I've never broken, though. a jury disagreed, but they were less well informed than I was, to be clear. So, I think there's some subsection of, the health code that really does sort of back me up. It's really mostly about kosher kitchens and Passover, because you can, and this is true, you can use a flamethrower to prepare your kitchen for Passover if you're getting rid of all the chametz. This is not Passover right now, and it's not super germane to our cafe, which is not technically kosher at this level. But we do drills to show the health inspector we're ready to serve all customers. So I think that's what I'm explaining, to the people who are surprised or confused by the flames. And I'm wondering if this can be a, my dear, if I could be so bold.
Are you flirting with the customers?
Well, I think I'm, it's a very particular kind of charm that I have, but there's almost, it's not like ASMR videos, right? But it's that sense of like, there's this wash of dullness as I'm like walking them through all these rules. Like there's something relaxing about it. It's certainly not sexy in any way, but it's like this, you're like being smothered by marshmallows. There's something wonderful about just letting go and giving up in that face of all that. So it's just like, my dear, like, I don't know if you're familiar with the more obscure provisions of health laws here for coffee shops and the extraordinary lengths to which we're prepared to go to take care of you. Now, today it's flamethrowers, but on any other day, it might be acids or an array of salts or a careful smudging, and each of those has their own particular space in this like extraordinary detailed book of health regulations and their causes.
Yeah, I love that there's this this unaware businessman who's like kind of gotten up in arms about all this this is unacceptable, and this type of establishment would never experience such an outrageous violation of all sorts of health codes. And you're just like, no, this is fantastic. Yes. So why don't you roll plus?
I'm going to use 2 of my 3.
Okay. Oh, that's a 9.
Nice. All
That's
right.
fantastic. So you get to pick one of. They swoon in response. And also your customer's happiness is your happiness, remove one stress, or you've learned something valuable, or you become the customer's preferred butler.
I think I become their preferred butler, so I'll take another prestige. And I'd love to hear a little bit, like, in what way, like, is it that like they're going to abandon a rival coffee shop which never sets anything on fire, or like what? How moved are they by this lecture?
I think they're moved because they are like an accountant, and they absolutely love the boring minutia of anything. Sorry to any accountants who are listening, but it's like, oh yes, of course, nobody else pays attention to all of the very specific health codes. This is fantastic. I love all the great work you're doing. Of course you need to burn down the building to get rid of all of the halal. Yes, this is fantastic. So yeah, I love that. And so that we've got this businessman who is just absolutely smitten with this that's very to the letter and kind of a little boring waitress, and I love it. I think we are getting close to the top of the hour, and I do want to see this makeover before we wrap up today. So let's finish up today's today's service day. Too many days in that one sentence with this makeover.
Oh, okay. I thought I might get to clean up the store a little before we go to the makeover, but if you all prefer to the makeover,
I think we have enough time for that. If you want to,
okay.
if you want to get that in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just
yeah, let's
just
do that.
just because I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, burning down the store, that's fine, but it creates some, I think, soot and stuff like that. And I guess, oh my gosh, I hate cleaning up stuff. I really do. But as I kind of hate the store being this dirty as well. So, well, okay. Okay. So let's see. I am basically made of sand, so I'll just take off, or yeah, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some of my substance and shape little sand cats that will run around and sweep up all the soot and the ashes from the burned wood. And that's kind of stressful for me, at least, because I don't like doing this, but I am. And I'm looking over to the queen. Queen of
Technically still
Cups.
lazy if you bud off parts of yourself, because then I feel like
These are parts of myself that are running around and doing the work. Do you know how hard that is to concentrate on so many cat-like parts of yourself that really all they want to do is sleep and nap, and they can't? It's kind of my instincts are through the roof. I will definitely have to take stress for this, even if the rules say they don't. I don't.
That's fantastic.
Because this is very stressful for me.
Question: are you okay? The Shapeless has a custom move called "Were you going to eat that?"
Yeah.
Which is basically exactly what you're doing.
Mhm.
If you would like to roll that instead, even though I know you didn't specifically take that one.
Okay. Cool.
It
Yeah.
is, you have a unique and disturbing way of cleaning up any mess. So
Are little sand cats really that disturbing? Okay. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, sure. I will do that. I will use 2 service tokens, and I will roll, and then we'll see. Make it. Yay! I've got an 8. So cool.
that is awesome.
Yeah.
So on an 8 to 10, it is clean in the blink of an eye. Choose 2 of the following. Letting off your true self felt great. Clear 2 stress. You learned a new cleaning technique. Gain 1 to 3 service tokens. Or reveal how your form saves the day. Describe how you quickly take care of anyone's rival, deftly solve an issue, or something similar.
I think it's the deftly solve an issue at the cafe. That's what I'm doing. That saves the that just saves the day. All these little cats, and they're kind of cute, even though they get a little dirty, but they kind of absorb the dirt into themselves. So everybody is kind of charmed by these little cats, and even if they look a little weird, and one of them has human ears for some reason, well, yeah, it's kind of okay, because what's the name of Leah's character? I'm sorry.
May.
Even though May explained about the whole health code stuff, and that helped, and then, yeah, well, you know, always cats are lovely. People come here because they love cats, so.
That's amazing. That's adorable. I love it. And yeah, so I love this image of like the cats running around, and like basically they like run over the sooty spots, and the soot just kind of gets sucked up into the sand. And then how does all of that soot react when it forms back into Jean?
I have to go to the toilet place.
Like dumping.
Don't usually
everywhere.
do that, but now I do.
That's fun. I love it. All right. Yeah, and let's do this makeover montage. So
What do you think about the potential that the makeover guest is Scorlax? Because if anyone needs a makeover, Scorlax does. Scorlax is ready to see the potential of their beauty.
So Scorlax is just like you lead Iron Bear back to this table, and Scorlax and Chehaya are just kind of chilling, having a good time at this back table together.
And I just pause, take in the scene, and say, will you let me work with you? There is beauty in you, I can sense it, but it needs to be brought out. You are the canvas. You will be my greatest challenge yet. Please, may I?
And this like kind of like pulsating purple mass of nightmare just kind of like looks up at you with this strange face. You have piqued my interest. I am not 100% sure what you're planning on doing, but whatever it is, it's better than this purple nonsense that I've been stuck with for all these years, so go for it.
Janae, get the brushes. And then there's a montage scene of Janae and I, like busily rushing from side to side. You see Scorlax from behind, and then we're both working on the front. And then finally, the turn and reveal, and Scorlax is beautiful. Well, I have to roll, don't I? I just want to make them beautiful.
I feel like
okay.
Scorlax will be beautiful, but perhaps in an unbelievably destructive way.
Yeah. Let's see. How many service tokens do I have? I have 3. So I'm gonna put 2 into this one because I'm hoping this goes well. Okay, that is a 7. If someone wants to offer some help, we can get to an 8, or we can go with the 7.
I think this is an excellent spot for Iron Bear to help out since he's kind of there.
And Iron Bear has been through some form of this process, I feel like. Maybe not this exactly, but is somewhat of a project as well.
Absolutely. Look at all my magnets. I'm looking fabulous. And I'll just stand there, and something that never happened before happens. I'm talking about all the care that Tristan provided me with. And there's a certain tone in my voice that never have been here before. And if you wouldn't know better, you would think that Iron Butler shows some form of emotion.
That's fantastic. And so, yeah, that bumps it up to an 8.
And okay, so I choose 2. I think I will take some service tokens. And so it says, describe what touched me. Iron Butler's, joining in really touched me, and just affirms that my work is important. I'm helping people. And I'm gonna choose to reveal how beauty saves the day and describe how you quickly take care of anyone's rival, being Scorlax. So I think Scorlax's self-esteem is now through the roof, and whatever they were here to do previously, that's old news.
Yes, I must show off my new complexion to the world.
As you should, Scorlax. You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
This is far superior to anything that I have previously imagined. Thank you so much. And he just kind of like pops off. Oh, I forgot my coffee. And he like extends this like now like pale pink tentacle up to the top of the counter, and he grabs this little mug of coffee. He's got like a single espresso shot, and goes out the back door without bothering May. And you've saved May a significant amount of headache, I'm sure. That is fantastic. All right, so that is going to conclude our service day today. We're going to take a quick break, and then we will be back to do evening moves, and then kind of wrap up this session. So I will see everybody in 5 minutes. All right, we are back from our break. And the last thing we have to do is to do a couple of evening tasks. Nominally, we have each person gets to do 3 evening tasks, but depending on how much time we have, we might cut that short at 2 just to make sure that we're ending on time. I don't want this to go too late, but we will see how that goes. So I am most curious about what Iron Butler's kind of closing scene is, and how you kind of end the day here. If you want to choose one of these.
Well, yeah. First, I go home, look in the mirror, and I do feel cute. But then I remind myself that I need to be strong for me, for the cafe, and, well, for my goals, which would be world domination, obviously. So what I'm doing is I search the Insta feed, everything that's tagged with our cafe, with the Queen's Cafe. And then I find a short video where I light the cafe on fire. I downloaded it, edited it, and reposted it. And what you see there is me standing there with my flamethrower arm and torching it, and a voiceover that is saying, "The Queen's Cafe, the freshest roasted coffee in town." So that is post some charming pictures of yourself and the cafe on social media.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah. So what is the response to that? Like, are people excited about the like the new direction that the Queen of Cups is taking, or is this like there are people who are like skeptical of, oh, this is too aggressive for a coffee shop?
Yeah, I do see some changes in our followership, and I think like all my workout followers might now be into coffee because it's like such a masculine drink. But yeah, we might lose some of the other followers that were there mainly for cats, which now doesn't seem to be the focus anymore. But again, it was, I think it was my personal profile, so not necessarily with the company side or with the business side.
Yeah, I love that. I think if we were to play this for a second day, I think tomorrow you'd get a bunch of bodybuilders who all wanted to come, and we're like all of your workout fans. That's amazing. Yeah, going backwards through the order, I think that is Jean. What is Jean up to?
Well, I would like to reminisce about being a supervillain with May, but Leah isn't here. I'll just, I don't know, let me watch soothing online videos. No, it's boring. Clean up the home and beautify it. I live in a playground. So yeah, I'll not exactly cleaning up the home. That's too much like work. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the playground and let myself go a little, because I try to get the soot out of my substance and just, you know, be a bit of sand curling around, maybe looking if the earth elemental guy is coming by, and scare off the kids, which I probably have done already. So no, Jane's home is actually this playground. That's where they live. They're just don't know how to get a place. Basically, that's weird. But nobody has ever asked. They wanted a place and they don't know. I mean, sure, they can now go and push some people out, but they've been told that they shouldn't, because that's not how things work here. Shouldn't just go and push people out because you don't like them. Or yeah, well, so right now they live on the playground. They scare away the dogs from the sandbox, and the kids are mostly, when the cafe closes, the kids are mostly at home. And some teenagers who want to play loud music, they go somewhere else now. So yeah, so I am taking service tokens. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm taking 1 because this was not a lot of trouble for me here. It was just doing stuff. Yeah.
I kind of want to hear about the first time that the group of teenagers who come and smoke on the swing set got scared away by Jean.
Well, yeah, you know, the first time they came by, Jane was actually kind of napping, looking, kind of manifesting as one of the sand cats, looking at them from, you know, you could only see the ears from the sandbox, but the teenagers, they didn't notice because they're teenagers and they noticed each other and nobody else. And one of them was very cool and smoking, and then they took the smoke thingy, the stub, and threw it into the sandbox. That was not a good idea, because the sandbox then threw back the stub and some other stuff that got lost in the sandbox. And ever since then, the teenagers have decided not to throw stuff into this particular sandbox. I mean, maybe one of them is coming by and trying to see if that sand person comes back. But I feel that if we were playing more of this, this might be a thing. But, well.
That's great. All right, and Tristan, what is your first evening move?
So I think for the first evening move, you see Tristan leaving the coffee shop, getting on the train, and heading up a couple stops, and then stopping in at like a corner store to pick up some small set of groceries, some noodles, some fresh fruit, and maybe like just a single slice of devil's food cake for dessert later, and then also picking up a nice new vase for those roses. And then Tristan gets home, puts the roses away, cleans makes himself dinner of the noodles and some side of fruit and the devil's food cake, and then cleans all the dishes. And so he'll clean up the home and beautify it.
I love that. Like going home, doing the groceries, cleaning everything up. Yeah. Iron Butler, what is your second idea?
My second idea
task?
would, yeah, that I think I'll send a text message to all the staff members of the cafe. Say like, it's of utmost importance that you attend, and then just add some GPS data, and when they show up, I've prepared a couple of plates and I put some screws on it and wait for them to come in and sit down. And once they sit at a table and most likely will be confused about the screws, I'm like, ha, 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 I learned to make a joke. And then I actually bring out some cake that is actually eatable.
And Jen will then remove the screws carefully and surreptitiously from their mouth because they thought that was, well, you know, it was actually quite tasty, but yeah, kind of hard to chew. So
I hope that counts as spend quality time. So yeah.
I love that. So yeah, so what kind of conversation are the three of you getting up to now that you're just kind of off? I'm assuming this is at like a park or something, because Iron Bear doesn't really have a house. He's got a shipping crate on a roof.
Yeah, and that's where I hosted the dinner.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So you set up this like picnic table set up on the top of this roof. I love it.
Tristan has brought a bottle of wine that definitely does not fit the scenario, but that's okay. We make do. I also happen to have brought my own wine glass.
Jane has not brought anything because they were not aware that they should have. But they look around and say, this is a very nice place to live.
Indeed, it is. It offers everything one would need after a full day of work. For example, no humans.
How did you find this thing? I might get a thing like that for myself. I like it.
I tried. That is actually a long story. I tried to call up on the armies of the. I tried to call upon the Russian troops. I tried to connect with a satellite, and therefore I needed to gain a higher elevation. And then nobody responded, so I waited, and that is how I came to live here.
Remind me to introduce y'all to realtor.com or apartments.com. Yeah.
Yeah, but well, do you think that somebody would just give me an apartment? See?
If you've got the money, then yes.
I have money. I get paid for my service at the Queen of Cups, and I have lots of money. I've mostly given it to people I like, but I guess I could use it for that.
Absolutely. And then we could have dinner parties like indoors with nice a table and maybe a table spread, some hors d'oeuvres that aren't metallic. But it's a lovely evening. Thank you, Iron Bear, for having us.
Yeah, thank you. I've never been invited to anybody's home before, except for the Queen of Cups, of course, and the court, but that I don't think that counts. Well, I might get myself an apartment. I don't much. I mean, my sandbox is fine, I guess, but if it rains, I get all wet and soggy, and I don't like that too much.
All right.
Or we could move your place to the rooftop. As far as I'm aware, that is not hard to accomplish.
Yes, but this the sandbox is for the children to play in, actually. I'm just using it at night to sleep in, but the children probably would miss it. And I'm told that it is good if children are happy. Happy children are good.
That indeed makes it more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask if Jean wants to take our next evening task. You could
Yeah,
choose to kind of continue the scene if you want to.
Yeah, I think I want to, because I want to reminisce about my days as a villain, actually about being a super villain. So I totally will do that, and I will then tell you that, you know, when I came here, I went into all the people's houses and took them and drove out the humans. And sometimes they threw stuff at me, and sometimes they used these bangy guns. But I mean, I'm made of sand, so it doesn't really hurt me or anything. And that was kind of fun, but I guess I shouldn't do that anymore. It's those, and it kind of, if you do it more than once, it kind of starts getting exhausting, because you always have to deal with people yelling and screaming, and then some superhero comes and hits you. Have you ever been hit by a superhero? It hurts. Even me. Didn't even know I could be hurt, but I can, apparently. There was this guy with the electro hammer.
I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
One day I was just asking people for things, and they'd give them to me, and I just thought, well, that's nice. I'll do that more.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I asked bank tellers, hey, can I have the money? And they just gave me the money. I mean, obviously they were making googly eyes at me, but hey, that was just part of it, right? And I thought, well, this is great. I don't have to work for anything. And then they stopped it. The superheroes, because, you know, who are they? Oh, look at me. I'm big and strong. I'm gonna fight you. And now I serve coffee to people with stains on their ties. Really moving up in the world.
Well, I don't know. It's not so bad. It's not so exhausting. And people yell at you, but they mostly don't. They mostly stop, and they go away after a while. And they give you money. And sometimes they're nice. The Earth Djinn, he's nice. I like him. I mean,
Can I admit something? Sometimes I still ask people for stuff, and they still give it to me. They call it a tip. I call it stealing.
well, I've gotten tips, but I've not asked them for that. Still do it.
You might be surprised who's willing to just open their wallet. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
And Tristan, do you have an idea for your next evening task?
Well, I was also thinking about reminiscing, but I feel like we got that. So, you know what? I think the like maybe Tristan's last evening thing would be back at home, laying in his bed, on his phone, on YouTube, watching those fantastic videos of the Japanese restaurants of like the like $100 steaks being cooked on the flat tops, and it's just some of the oil goes down, and then they put the steak down, and it looks so good. And look at that technique. Look at those knives. They're so sharp, and it's very relaxing.
That's amazing. May, do we want to, now that you're back, do we want to kind of see what May is up to in the evenings?
Sure. So I think, she's, let's see, when she's on her way home, she's often like pausing on the walk, and like putting bird food out in a very specific park. And like a few moments later, a specific bird comes down to eat it. And as she goes, she like nudges like a pebble like into someone else's path, and they stumble into the arms of someone else. And whether these are villainous things or not is kind of up to the viewer to decide. She's just got a lot going on as she heads home. And I think she winds up kind of carefully snaking through all those cords in her apartment in order to get on her computer. And I'm going to post some charming pictures. So she's got photos of those rival drinks, right? Like it is using them to kind of gauge and seed information about the strength of the Superhero Registration Act. And let's see. So when I do this, I talk about the pictures and responses to gain a prestige point. So I think what she's doing is, it started with the yogurt, but she's kind of gone all in with the cat stuff and the catnip, because there's some hero that has like a whole cat deal going on. And she's, slowly, you can see she's got a little bit of a crazy wall going on, like digging into who's getting into this hashtag and the side effects, like, and in the evening, like a little proximity alert goes off for a cafe of someone being on the roof, and you just see her like smile and go like, yes, it's working.
Amazing. And everybody else got 2 scenes if you want to grab a second one.
Sure, I'll probably do a short one, but let's see. So my other options. I think as she's working on that kind of crazy wall, she's almost out of she's like rearranging stuff. She's almost out of the bird seed and is looking at kind of, you suddenly notice that there's like 2 kinds of string on the crazy wall, but she only has one kind. The other kind is black, and sometimes there's a feather stuck in. And I think she just, is reminiscing about being a supervillain, and that whatever she's working on right now is something she was originally working on with Corvid. But in the absence of that, for whatever has kept them apart right now, whether it's feelings or parole conditions, she texts Tristan to just say, like, what do you do when you can't be together with someone legally?
I think Tristan responds, you can't deny what the heart wants. You just have to find a way.
She's like texting back, saying like, what if you can work around someone's absence, but you don't want to? But it's impractical to compromise the overall structure of the plan.
We shouldn't have to sacrifice.
All right. Well, I think given that advice, it's late at night. She's like going through a really long parole agreement, which talks about like all the places she is not allowed to meet, like a carefully enumerated list of villainous Confederates. And she's like running her hand through the list. And then we see her like flip open that little heads up display with that blinking Asgard cat. And then suddenly she runs her hand over the list one more time and then smiles.
That's wonderful. I love that. So I think that is going to be the end of our session. If you guys are willing to stick around a little bit for some stars after I close out the recording, I would love that. For everyone who's watching at home, thank you so much for sticking with us. I know this is a long one, but if you want to know more about the Gauntlet or any of our other programs, there are going to be links in the description. Click on any of those, come visit us. Maybe if you sign up for one of my games, then I will get to play with you soon. But until then, I will see you around. Bye, everyone.